If you're sick of franchise leads ghosting you, or you're not getting enough high quality inquiries, then it's probably because you're missing this, and that is a franchisor personal brand. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how it's a massively underutilized thing in franchising and how it can really accelerate your franchisor growth. So, franchise as a concept. Franchising as a concept is generally low in trust. Now in Australia anyway, I don't know about the US or UK, but in Australia, it gets absolutely pillared to post. So what can you do to strengthen your franchise brand proposition? And what I recommend you can do is you can have this founder personal brand. And from that founder personal brand, you're going to post a lot of content about being a franchisee in your system so that you can build trust so people come into your system. So let's start off first of all with the first elements of your personal brand. The first thing is actually deciding on what is your goal with this brand. So if your goal with the franchisor personal brand is to literally build trust to get more franchise sales, that tells you the type of content that you should post on it. You could have another thing where you just want to be known as an entrepreneur business person. So that's going to then guide your content a completely different way. So you need to first work out what is the actual goal with your personal brand. So once you establish your goal, then we can go into the next part of this. The next part of this is I want you to buy your domain name online. So I want you to do it as your personal name. So my name is Joel Kleber, for example. I have joelkleber.com.au. Now the reason why I want you to buy your name, because I guarantee if you do have a LinkedIn profile, for example, and someone Googles you, that will generally be the first thing that comes up into someone's search results page. Now you don't need a really expensive or fancy website. You can use a simple thing called Card, which is C-A-R-R-D. Now Card is basically just a really idiot-proof landing page builder that you can use to then build your website. If you want to go a bit further with it, you can build multiple pages, etc. But I just want you to have a one-page landing page for your website with your name, who you help. Have there a 90-second to 3-minute video about who you are and your values. And if you've got any other content related to being a franchisee in your system, you're going to have that there with an inquiry form. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to decide on the channels. Now, where are you going to post your content and how often, etc. So first of all, you need to really understand your franchisee. What is their age? Where do they spend most time? If you know that, which platforms are they going to consume content on, or you'll be able to get your content into their feeds to actually learn about being a franchisee in your system. So the best one I generally think in franchising to start with is LinkedIn. Now the reason why I like LinkedIn is because there's a really low competition for posting on there. So a lot of people will stalk, they'll never post, they'll never comment on anything, but they'll scroll through the feed and you have an opportunity to influence people there as well. LinkedIn as well is a really easy one to stand out on because the competition on that platform is a lot lower than something like Instagram, for example, or even YouTube. So just by posting itself, you're probably better than 90 to 80% of the people who use that platform all the time because a lot of people are too scared to post. So I recommend starting with LinkedIn, and you think about the people who use LinkedIn, people who are corporates, professionals, people who are your ideal franchisees who want to probably get out of what they're doing, and where can they learn about you besides if they go actively looking for franchise opportunities? Well, having a founder which posts content on there on a daily basis, like I do for Jim, for example, can plant that seed for the first time when they weren't even considering about being a franchisee, and then get them looking into your franchise system. Now, even though I've said LinkedIn, it doesn't mean you can't use Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, have a podcast, whatever else, but I just say start with LinkedIn because that's something which I think is probably the easiest platform to commit to, and there's different systems you can use to build that one up as well. In saying that, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok even, for example, are all good places to start. It just depends on where you think your ideal franchisee is and where they're spending the most time with their content. Now from there, I want you to claim that platform. So hopefully LinkedIn's already in your name. But if you're using Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, etc., just claim those accounts as your name. Even if you don't use them, it's good to have them there. And if your name is taken, just see if you can put an "it's" in front of it. So for example, it's Joel Kleber, or the Joel Kleber, for example, if Joel Kleber would be taken. So make sure you grab your name if you ever do want to build at those platforms. Now the next thing you're going to focus on once you've got your domain and your channels is content. So what content are you going to create to attract franchisees or to bring people into your franchise brand for the first time that don't know anything about you? So how can you build that trust? And I would recommend really concentrating on this, trust. What type of content can I put out there to build trust in not only myself as a franchise founder or a franchisor, but in the franchise system? Now the ultimate trust builder that we do at Jim's and that I've done for many years is a podcast. So content, trust, podcast, easy enough to remember, right? So the podcast is the ultimate trust builder because for me, you can talk to someone for 45 minutes to an hour and there's nowhere for them to hide. It's really hard to BS in a long form podcast. And the great thing about that as well is you can then repurpose that with various AI tools or just with someone like as a VA overseas to then distribute into those channels, which I'm talking about earlier as well. So it's a really good one for doing that. In saying that, you don't have to do a podcast. You can do videos like I'm doing now on YouTube. You can do 90-second, you can do 10-minute explainer videos, whatever you want to do, you've got to create content as well. Now, you should try multiple different things and see what works for you and what you actually like doing and enjoy doing, and stick to that. Now, I'm going to write this down here. It is relevant, but also types. So types of content, and do it to work with your strengths. So if you're someone who's a stronger writer, you probably want to focus more on platforms that promote more writing. So it could be X even, for example. You could start up a newsletter. LinkedIn, for example, really like text and image-based posts, so writing's really good there. If you prefer speaking and video, podcast, YouTube, Instagram, all that sort of stuff is probably where you might want to focus. But just decide on the type of content that works for you and your personality type best, and try and commit to a plan with that. Now, going back to content as well, how do you create it? Well, you can create it yourself. All you really need is a phone. In saying that, you can outsource it to some really good agencies. In Australia, there's a guy called Glenn Walford from Franchise Buyer. I recommend looking him up anyway, because you can see his content types here. Or you can do what we did in gyms, and we built a content team in-house as well. But if you're a smaller brand starting out, you probably don't have those resources. So you might just have to start doing everything yourself and find a really good VA online. If you have a bit more money and a bit more funds, I'd invest in getting a video agency like Franchise Buyer at Glenn's, or just anyone in general that you can find in your area. If you do have the belief in creating content, you want to commit to the journey, I do recommend hiring in-house, and that's what we've done. It's been the best thing we've ever done in gyms. Now, we'll also say you do need reps. Your first lot of content is going to suck. These are my first early YouTube videos, and I know looking back in 3 years' time, I'm going to hate watching these, but you need to get the reps in. You can do all the planning or all that sort of stuff, all the storyboards, all those things, but you just got to start. So get those reps in. Once you get those reps in, you'll get better at doing it, and you'll progress and progress and progress. Look at the stuff from gyms that we did back in 2019 compared to now. They are widely different in what we have done, and the production value is far better. How we communicate, how we do our hooks, how we do our short form content is far a lot better than what we did in 2019. So you're going to improve, but you just need to get those reps. Now, one of the other things, which is one of the pillars, is being consistent. So you have to be consistent to build a personal brand. You can't post for 1 week and then stop, and then 2 weeks later you're going to post again and expect those posts to go viral or to take off. You need to be consistent with it. So you need to commit to a schedule that works for you. So if you're really busy, it might just be 1 post a week or 1 video a week, whatever it is, but just stick to something and be consistent, because that trust gets built over time with Ingles every single post that you do. Not only that, you're giving algorithms more information about who you are and what you do, and hopefully they can show it to more people who would be interested in seeing your content. Ideally, I do recommend committing to a 9 to 12 month time frame. And why is that? Because generally the franchise buying experience is not something that's a week or a month. It could be 9 months to 12 months before someone actually becomes a franchise in your system, from seeing some piece of content or the ad and then actually going through the whole buyer journey. So that's why you should really stick to it for a year, to give it a red hot crack to see if it actually will work or not. Now, we're also going to want to do this, which is measure. Now, all franchisors and everyone in business in general says we need to measure impact and ROI, right? So I'll tell you a quick story about measuring impact. So when we first started doing personal brand content with Jim back in 2019, we did a thing called Ask Jim, which was a live Q&A with the founder. And the great thing for me, which allowed the platform to build and do what we've done, is that we've done a few of these Facebook live streams, and then a couple of trainings down the track, we had people come up to Jim and said, I asked you a question on Ask Jim, or I watched you and asked him for the last 2 times, and that gave me confidence before coming here. So I had a really quick win in ROI. So that was really easy to see, well, this founder content or me doing Q&As online to the public worked for bringing people into the franchise system. So you've got to try and measure it as well, which is why I say commit to 9 to 12 months, because you're going to do one piece of content and expect someone to buy a franchise from it. That's generally not how it works. You need to do a lot of content over time to build that trust. And then after 9 to 12 months, you can then start asking your prospects who come into training or inquire with you, did you see this, or what did you watch, or what did you consume before coming here? And I guarantee you, if you commit to doing this sort of plan which we're talking about here, you will get someone every now and again mention, I follow you on LinkedIn, I saw that YouTube video, or saw you interviewed that franchisee. That was the thing that really planted the seed in my head. I hear that all the time with our Jim's content here, which is why I'm telling you that it's a really great trust builder if you commit to it. Now, the last thing is, once you have some measurement and you see that it works, is scaling it. So if you know that doing content will directly result in business sales. So in franchise sales, it could be a 500 grand sale, $1 million in sales that could be attributed to your personal brand or your personal brand helping build. Wouldn't that encourage you to do more things or commit more resources to it? I know that it would for me. So I would commit to scaling this, right? So if you've got one internal videographer, for example, why not hire an offshore short form content team? Why not hire a repurposer to get on more platforms? Because these channels here can be hard to maintain with a lot of content if you don't have systems in place, which is why you do need people to help you. It's very hard to do it internally as a solo person. You're going to need to outsource it or either build a functionality in-house as well. But that's why I say it's important to measure it, because if you know you're getting some ROI and you're getting some positive responses from the content that you're doing, it will mean hopefully that you can get the powers to be, if it's you making the decision, to decide to invest into actually scaling your content. There's a reason why a lot of entrepreneurs now are doing what I'm doing with you, and that's doing video content, because it is the best trust builder in a very low trust business environment, and especially in franchising. So that's why you need to do it. Now, if you want to see how we do it, just Google Jim's Group. You'll see all the content that we do as well. Or search for @Jim Penman, which is our CEO's personal brand, which we work on. If you like what you hear as well, I do have a free franchise growth playbook in the description as well. So make sure you grab that as well. If you did like this video or want some more advice like this, please make sure you leave me a comment. And I'm looking for comments and questions to do more videos on as well, all about the topic of franchise as well. And if you did like the video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel.